Yesterday we explained the halachic ramification regarding Tu B'Shvat, how it affects the giving of the tithe, the orle, the shmita, and so on. Now there's an interesting discussion in the Talmud, Rosh Hashanah. What happens with a tree, such as a carob tree, that can begin to give bud before Tu B'Shvat, but it will not be harvested until much later, well after Tu B'Shvat? Do the tithing follow the rules of the 3 years in which they bud, or the 3 years in which they are harvested? So the Gemara says the following: a tree whose fruit were in bud before the 15th of Shvat must be tithed as the produce of the past year. But if they bud after that, they are tithed during the coming year. Said Rabbi Nechemya, this applies to trees whose fruit ripen and are harvested over an extended period of time. But in the case of a tree whose crop is harvested all at once, such as a date palm, olive tree, or carob tree, although their fruits may begin to bud before the 15th of Shvat, they are tithed with the produce of the coming year. And the Gemara concludes, the custom of the masses follow Rabbi Nechemya with regard to carobs. Thus, this law was decided not by a vote of the sages, but simply by the custom of the Jewish people. So we see over here there is something intrinsic regarding carob and customs. So to commemorate this, on Tu B'Shvat, where we have the custom to eat different foods, we particularly eat a carob to emphasize the importance of a custom, the importance of a Jewish custom, as we have the dictum that it says, Minag Yisrael Toirahi, Minag Noshim Tzidkanias, becomes halacha. A minag, a custom which has been established by the Jewish people, it becomes and has the power of the law, and therefore customary on Tu B'Shvat to eat a carob. But there's also another thing related specifically to carobs and Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat, where we celebrate trees, our produce, we recognize that all this is miraculous. And the Gemara tells us the following story in Ta'anit, page Chav Dalet 24. The Gemara says, Amar Rav Yehuda Marav, B'chol yoyim v'yoyim baskol yoytzes v'meres, every day there is a heavenly voice that emerges and says, Kol ha'olam kuloi nizam b'shvil chanino b'ni. The entire world is sustained by the merit of my son, Chanina ben Doisa. V'chanina b'ni, and my son Chanina, yet he, dayo b'kav charuvim erev Shabbos l'erev Shabbos. For him, my son Chanina, a kav, it's a certain measurement of carobs, a very small amount of inferior food is sufficient to sustain him for an entire week. So the Gemara speaks about Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was known to be, miracles was by him plat du jour, was a constant. And what was he living off? Carob. There's a further interesting fact. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and his son Rabbi Lazar, when they were hiding from the Romans for 13 years in the cave, they sustained themselves. They ate from a carob tree that miraculously suddenly appeared on the side at the entrance of their cave. And in fact, there's an interesting question which is asked. We've spoken yesterday that there is a concept of orla and eterevai. The first 3 years of a tree, we are forbidden to benefit from its produce, and the 4th year has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. How were they able to eat the first 4 years of the carob tree since it just appeared? The answer that is given is because it was a miracle. On a miraculous tree, we do not have to the laws of the agricultural laws do not apply on a miraculous event. So what we see over here, that carob is somehow intrinsically related to miracles. The Gemara says another interesting fact. It takes 70 years for a carob tree to start giving fruit after its planting. To tell us that our task is to plant, to assure for future generations. But it's also the message with exile. that although it seems to be no end, 70 years we've been planting and planting and planting, ultimately the fruit will come. So today we are benefiting of the 70 years of the generations and generations of our ancestors and previous generations who have done so many mitzvahs. We are benefiting now from its fruit with the imminent coming of Mashiach. So Shana Tova, a Happy New Year, and may we ultimately see the big miracle, the miracle of enjoying all those fruits, the fruits of our labor in the Beis HaMikdash with Mashiach.